What does being a mentor mean to you?
Being a mentor to me means having somebody to trust, having that person to, fight your corner for you. So for me, when I do my mentoring sessions, I'm looking at, what are the barriers that this person's facing? Having somebody there to support them, encourage them and help motivate them through, often what can be a very difficult journey. Life always has a pattern of throwing, various things at us. So it's overcoming barriers and obstacles. And as a mentor, I show people that there is perhaps another direction, an alternative path. So for me, mentoring is about instilling confidence in people to help them believe that they can achieve anything.
How does your mentorship process work from initial planning to establishing a successful company?
When I start to work with a company, the first question I ask a person is, why are you doing this? So, finding out their purpose and their passion is really important, because if you're going to be really busy and you're going to take a company from here to, perhaps a global success, you've got to have the right reasons for starting the business in the first place. So why are they doing it? And often with a lot of startups, I'm finding that, they have just created something because they thought maybe it was a trend, it was, but we have to protect the mentee and make sure that the business is actually can be a growing, scalable, sustainable business. So my process is analysing why they're doing this, what have they achieved so far, how can we actually make this a reality? So looking at all areas of the business, from the market to looking at their website, creating the right story, because if you're going to go and put your message out there to the world, everything has to be already thought out beforehand. So for me, the process is very simple. It's looking at the initial concept, making sure it's watertight and that it has the capacity to grow into that scalable, sustainable business, and that it's not a one-off wonder, a fad business, or something that is going to be gone in what I call a year's time.
If you could spend a day hanging out with 3 people from history, who would they be and why?
When I was growing up, I went to a convent and we had pictures of Mother Teresa all around the school. So I always remember as a little girl wanting to be her, and because I loved the fact that she would go out there on a mission. She was so selfless in her mission there, to go around the world helping people, and she was dedicated, she was so devoted to her cause. So having those pictures up of Mother Teresa all around when I was growing up, wonderful saint, I would definitely like to go back in history and spend some time with her. Another person would be Princess Diana, because she was beautiful outside and in. She was the people's princess, and I loved how she used her position to go out there and to, all her humanitarian work that she did. She was brave. She wasn't scared to go out there, speak her mind, and, go for things that nobody else had done. So I really admire her. My third person would be Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. He was incredible in his work and his mission, a guru. 30 years he traveled the world telling people all about how to meditate, and he introduced transcendental meditation to the world. So his devotion to his mission, and the fact that he could just get audiences to sit there in absolute silence listening to his every word, it was so powerful. And really his quest was just to make sure that the world was rid of unhappiness and discontentment. So an incredible person to have brought us that wonderful gift, and tirelessly fought to just go out there and make everybody realize the benefits of meditation.
What is your favorite book?
My favorite book, without doubt, is a book called Mind Over Medicine. So it's a very powerful book that explains how you can heal yourself. So the more as time goes on, people are realizing that they can cure themselves in a very, very powerful way. The book touches on the fact that in clinical trials, over 80% of patients who were given a placebo effect actually healed themselves. That just shows you the power of the mind. And it's almost like in that book you are rewriting your own personal prescription to heal yourself. So in terms of everything, we have to be very careful these days. We lead such busy lives that we are looking after our physical health, our mental health, and our spiritual health. And I think for me, that book is like a prescription. You can just pick it up and open it, and it really gets you to focus on looking at not just the physical, not just the mental, but the spiritual side as well, so that they can all work in harmony, which is what you really need to feel truly contented.
Why do people need to pay attention to mentoring?
People need to pay attention to mentoring because mentoring has the potential to really impact society, education, business, on a global scale here. So we're seeing lots and lots of resources ploughed into mentoring, from multinational companies to those in leadership positions, those who are in policy making positions. They are really putting time and resources into mentoring because they know how important it is. The world needs mentoring. Can you imagine, and certainly in these times of unrest, if we were all mentoring each other, if we were looking out for those people who perhaps are from disadvantaged, vulnerable backgrounds, if we were actually working towards helping people like that to get up and do something with their lives and give them the helping hand and the support and the fact that somebody's caring about them, that the world would be a better place.
What business do you admire the most apart from yours?
I admire businesses who give something back. I admire those businesses who are successful and that they then create their own initiatives. With the work that I'm doing with National Mentoring Day, I'm getting to see a lot of different organisations and how they're putting their profits into incredible mentoring initiatives that are then going through to helping various sectors in society, which really does make a great difference. So those are the companies that I admire who are giving back and making a difference.
What experiences in your formative years help you become who you are today?
I think some of the negative experiences that I had in my early years were people are very critical. So I remember from previous relationships to family members is really, you can't do that. Why are you doing that? And I never listened. I always did what I wanted to do, for me. So I had a burning desire to do something. I wouldn't listen to my critics. So my advice out there, to anyone else out there is to just do what you want to do. If you've got an initiative, if you've got a quest to do something, then go out and do it. So I've received a lot of negative criticism in my life through various business ideas. I mean, people have said to me, you're launching a national day. How are you going to do that? How's that going to work? It just works because it's the passion of a sole individual that will get you to do that, to deliver on your dream. So negative criticisms have played a really key part in my life in fueling me to go out there and do what I set out to do. I think that another part to that question is that I never had a mentor. So if you take something that's that was an area of weakness for me, I didn't have a mentor. There wasn't this initiative around when I was first setting up my businesses. So nowadays, if you have a mentor, you can get where you want to be far quicker, far cheaper, and without the stress involved. You're learning from somebody who's been there before and done it. So for me, not having a mentor brought me to where I am today in making sure that everyone has access to a mentor. So, through a negative, I turned it around into a positive and have made it my quest that, people know how to access a mentor.
How do you inspire the mentees that you work with?
I inspire my mentees very easily. I've been known to be there in rooms giving the motivational talks And I most importantly, I make sure my mentees think that they can achieve anything, because you really can. So for me, the process is about breaking down those limiting beliefs, and everyone I've worked with has something, and they need to work with somebody to overcome that. So breaking down the barriers, I create a place of trust where I can actually discuss with the mentee, what are your worries, what are your concerns, what are you most scared of? Once we've had those things, had those discussions, we can then work on them so they're not scared anymore. So we almost work out the worst case scenario first, then we start to build them up. So for me, it's very much about breaking down their limiting beliefs, assessing skills. What are they good at? What don't they like? So once I find that out, this is where outsourcing comes into it. This is where get the person to focus on the stuff they love and they enjoy and that they're good at, and then we can slowly, get rid of the stuff that they're not. We can seek and bring in extra help for that. So it's really inspirational when people come back to me time and time again and they are saying, we're really enjoying running our business now. Because I think for many people out there, they're stuck in the rut. Perhaps they created a business 5 years ago and they're ploughing all their efforts and energy into it, but they've not taken time out to review, to get a mentor, to reassess their ways of thinking. They're probably old, outdated ways of thinking. What's the new? Unless you keep up with technology and changes that are happening in the world, your business can become very stale, very obsolete. So it's really taking that time to review your business and actually will change direction. I've seen and done that with many organisations and companies that I've worked with. We may drop 3 sections of what they cover in their business, and then we're focused on launching a new division, a new aim, a new initiative, a new product or a new service to bring them into the 21st century.
What would you do differently in your life, if anything?
I wouldn't do anything differently in my life because it shaped me to be the person that I am today. So whatever experiences I've had, good or bad, I found that naturally it's almost prepared me for the next step in my life, the next jigsaw puzzle. It's amazing that I couldn't see that when I was younger, in my teens, in my early 20s, I couldn't see that. But now everything seems to be just slotting into place. Any experience or job or career that I did in my earlier years has helped me in where I am today.
What advice would you give to new mentors?
The advice that I'd give to new mentors is be very careful. It's a very delicate situation when you're mentoring somebody, especially when you're mentoring youth or young people. So it's very important to not come across in a scolding, judgmental or telling way. You got to leave your ego at the door. It's all about them. So in terms of helping them, supporting them, you're helping them to come to their own decisions, not saying, well, if I was you, I would have done this. And you know what? You could have saved half the time if you'd have done it like this. That doesn't work. So you're gonna generate the wrong energy, and they're gonna shrink down and not respond very well to that. So it's suggesting, becoming a very, very good listener and asking questions to help the mentee to come up so that it's their decision that they've made. So inspiring them to come to their own decisions is very important. And a lot of the time it is just being a very, very good listener and asking thought-provoking questions at the right time.
What's the best advice you've received in your life?
The best advice that I've received, when I get good advice, I sometimes make little cards up and put them around my desk. One of the cards that I've got on my desk says, "Let things come to you." And I think that's really important because there's a lot of times when you could be chasing and running after things, but more importantly, just let things come to you. If something's meant to happen, it will happen. It will the universe has a funny way of getting things to show up and provide things for you. So let things come to you. I often find that when you stop chasing everything, it suddenly happens. So I think also the best advice, we read this all the time in books, is to not let criticism get to you. Don't listen to the negative comments, but people do. This is the problem we have, is that if it comes from a family member, if it comes from perhaps a partner, you do take it on board. So it's really believing in yourself. If you believe in yourself, anything is possible, and it can really affect and influence the results that you get. So having that totality belief in what you're doing and having that faith that you can deliver on it is so important, and just blocking out the negative comments, because they will be all around you for the rest of your life. So don't listen to them.
Why did you launch National Mentoring Day?
I launched National Mentoring Day to recognise the incredible work that mentors do, on a daily basis. There's hundreds of thousands of mentors mentoring, giving over their time selflessly, putting time and effort into mentoring others. And we had no national celebration to recognise these people. But also, more importantly, we need to keep that constant cycle of mentors encouraged and inspired to go out there and mentor. So it's a national celebration to not only celebrate and recognise mentoring, but to create more awareness on the incredible and significant benefits that mentoring brings. So we need more mentors to keep up with the demand of the mentors that are needed to fulfil the mentoring across society, business, education. So I launched the National Day because they have a big celebration in America, backed by the White House and President Obama. Huge multinational brands and media giants all get involved in their national celebration. And I was researching it, and we didn't have one. So I've been privileged to be recognised for my work, and I wanted other people to be recognised for the wonderful mentoring that they do. So I think it was really important step to create this National Day. So I'm paving the way for future generations to really celebrate this wonderful initiative of mentoring, and to showcase the power that mentoring has.
What's the response been like?
The reaction that I've received is, why wasn't there a National Day to celebrate mentoring sooner? So many people have come forward and told me that they have been Googling a National Appreciation Day for mentoring. So I've really been overwhelmed. The response, we're receiving hundreds and hundreds of emails a day from people saying, I had one yesterday that was that they're mentoring wounded soldiers. The importance of this day is unbelievable, and it's so well needed. So we need to help these initiatives and these people that have set up on their own. We need to give them resources. We need to give them some respite. We need to make sure that they have perhaps their standards and quality and best practice in place to help them, more. And this is where mentoring can impact on a really global scale. So the response has been overwhelming. We always need more response, because we need response from those who can really make a difference. So in terms of the response from all the large mentoring organisations in the country, they're all on board, and we've had an incredible response from them. So they're all supporting the National Day, and it's then trickling down to all their mentors, all their mentees, and touching one person at a time.
You're a pitching expert, and you mentor on public speaking. What tips would you give to our viewers?
As a pitching expert, it's critical that I work with people before they go and ask for their millions. There's so many investment shows these days and pitching events, and people are just standing up there saying, I want £100,000 for this, and they haven't prepared their pitch. They haven't prepared the slide deck, but they haven't had the training on how to deliver, to be able to answer the questions from the judges who are going to rip the business to pieces and ask these really pertinent questions. So for me, it's about working with companies who are seeking investment to make sure that they're ready So, when I work with them, I have an investor Q&A session that we cover. So I get to ask them really awkward questions on their business and almost confuse them on their numbers so that they've had a practice with me before obviously going up in front of a large panel for real and asking for the money. So it could be that they've practiced and rehearsed, they know what they're going to say up there, but when you're faced with a judging panel and you're asking for investment, there's many different aspects of things that can start to happen to a person. So for example, I will pick up things where people are scratching their head, they're fiddling with pens, pieces of paper, they're rocking from side to side. Ask the person how they thought their pitch was, and yes, fine. They're not aware and they're not picking up all these, I don't call them faults because I work with them to improve them, but these little habits that can become very annoying. So in terms of public speaking, I will do an assessment to critique their, work with companies and keynote individuals who are going to do massive speeches, and I will critique what they're doing wrong, and then we look to fix it. So in terms of pitching for investment, I've worked on over 1,000 pitches. That's being, judging them and critiquing them individually. So that's given me an incredible snapshot there to have worked with that many people. So also having the judging panel on the right-hand side of me, I have seen their eyes. I've seen at what point the judge loses interest in the person who's pitching for investment. I see the eyeballs rolling, I see them starting to scribble on their pieces of paper. So it's really about making sure that if you're pitching for investment that you're getting your key points across first, because most people, they're sitting there in terms of the audience and the judges. What is it? How's it going to change the world? How is the concept, proved? What's the real market size? What equity are you looking for? What's your past credibility? What good people have you got on the team? You really got to get it to be a little bit more concise and impress them at the beginning, rather than just reeling off the 2-3 years of your life's worth of work in a slide presentation. You've got to come across as dynamic. We've got to believe in your pitch. And I work with a lot of young entrepreneurs, especially in creating their story, to make sure that the story sounds credible. Because if you go and launch yourself by saying, well, this happened to me and now I've done this and this is where I started, think about the implication that story that you're predominantly going to say or launch to the press, where's that going to take you? Where and how will that shape your future? Will you be known as the person who did X, Y, Z? When you launch yourself or your business and you say, I have done, you can get known for that for a long time. So it's very much in terms of the public speaking and the pitch training that I do. It's working to craft a key message first that will also shape your future as well. Something that you believe in and that you have your purpose and your why factor included in it.
What are some of your aims for the next 5 years?
Well, the aims for the next 5 years are that with the mentoring, that we really do target those hard to reach areas. Why shouldn't somebody who's suffering with long-term illness, disability, why shouldn't they have a mentor? Why should mentoring be for people who can afford it? So we need to really reach those areas and make a difference to those people's lives, because there's so many areas of society where people don't know how to access a mentor, they don't understand the benefits of it, they haven't seen the case studies, they haven't seen it with their own eyes, how their lives can be turned around. So for me, the aim is definitely to make sure that we provide more training for mentors, that we look at quality and standards, because it's important that people who are put in that position of power of being a mentor that they know what they're doing. So certainly that's an area that needs to be looked at. So it's also making sure that, like I say, we get to these hard-reaching areas, and that any business, child, adult or group that needs mentoring can access a mentor when they want at any time. So I also think that certainly with our aims, it's to make sure that every country also has a mentoring celebration. So we've launched here in the United Kingdom. We're already receiving a lot of inquiries from other countries. So it would be working in harmony and providing all the resources that has taken me 2 years to put together to help those countries to have their own initiative. So how we'll achieve that is by partnering with key stakeholders who can really help to implement this change. So we're working with multinational brands and agencies to really push the mentoring message and help us deliver it, because in terms of the National Day, it's not just a one-day event, it's a year-round initiative. So for us to be able to deliver all these mentoring initiatives, we need the help of all the mentoring organisations who already do that.
Thank you, Chelsey. It's been a pleasure to interview you on Richtopia.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be here.